Welcome to the world of physical and occupational therapy. My name is Tyree Patterson. I am a doctor of physical therapy here in West Palm Beach, Florida.
My name is Angie Mason. I'm also a doctor of physical therapy, but I also have my master's in occupational therapy, which I do provide here in Florida.
So, a little bit about myself. I am originally from Washington, D.C. I grew up in Maryland and went to high school out there. I went to a all-girl liberal arts school in Roanoke, Virginia. No one has ever heard of it probably, but the name of it is Hollins University, where I received my bachelor's in science. Originally, I wanted to be a pediatrician, actually, but I didn't want to go to school for the rest of my life. And then two, after talking to my mom who worked at a rehabilitation hospital, she suggested that I should just observe the world of therapy. So occupational therapy, speech therapy, and physical therapy. I did that, but I fell in love with physical therapy.
Right on.
So after that, I changed my whole major and I did the prerequisites to get into physical therapy school. Fast forward, I went to the University of St. Augustine in Florida. At that time, I was in the program of the Flex program where you can work full-time and go to school online. Well, I had two jobs and I was working two full-time jobs and going to school. So all of that put a stress on me and I actually failed out of physical therapy school. Fast forward to a year, I still worked in the physical therapy world doing billing in a home health agency, and I became connected with some really good physical therapists who actually showed me the ropes and who encouraged me to pursue the physical therapy dream that I've always had. So after many years of begging and pleading to get back into the physical therapy program in University of St. Augustine, they actually let me into their full-time program and not the flex. They thought that it would be better that I would be in person, which is true because I am a born certified procrastinator. So I wait to the very last minute to do assignments, things of that nature. If it's boring to me, I don't want to do it. So it was better that I did an in-class, in-person program. And ever since then, here I am today as a physical therapist. So that's a little bit about my educational background.
So, a little bit about me. I am from Augusta, Georgia. I went to school there, one of the best little high schools in Richmond County, A.R. Johnson, which is actually meant for health science. So we got a good field of different backgrounds of health occupations. I chose to go down more of a physical therapy realm because I knew at the age of 9 that I actually wanted to be a physical therapist. So long story short, me and my brother, I was about 8 years old, playing outside. He pushed me as he was tagging me.
You were probably talking trash.
I was, a lot of trash. So he pushed me. I fell into a hole, twisted my ankle, and for 2 days my mom said, "Nothing's wrong with you, get up and walk." I hobbled around the house, and eventually she finally took me to the doctor, who said I did indeed fracture my ankle. Yes, my mother made me walk on a broken foot for 2 days. Long story short, after the cast for about 6-8 weeks, I went to physical therapy to get back my mobility. That's when I fell in love with physical therapy. My physical therapist was great. She had me playing games, doing a lot of stuff that didn't feel like exercise. So I knew from that moment on I wanted to be a physical therapist. After high school, I went to Georgia Southern University in the smallest town in Georgia, Statesboro, where I was on the path of becoming a nurse, and I decided to change my mind and major because I knew that nursing didn't align with physical therapy. So what I actually did was join a recreational therapy program because I knew it needed a stepping stone to get to physical therapy. Recreational therapy was fun because, again, it's play. You play all day long. And so I got to do a couple internships where I actually saw physical therapists and occupational therapists work hand in hand because I had never knew about occupational therapy. Then, after graduating from Georgia Southern, I found University of St. Augustine, which actually offered a dual program. So you get your master's in occupational therapy and you get your doctorate in physical therapy, and that's what I decided to do. It was a long road, but for me, I like to stay on the grind. I don't procrastinate like somebody else. I'm ahead of the game 3 or 4 steps. So even though it was a lot of work, for me, it felt like a game. It was a challenge. I like to compete with myself. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. For this, it was. It got me to where I needed to be and what I actually love to do, which is therapy.
So how do we end up here? Well, as you know, Angie and I, we both went to the University of St. Augustine, and we became friends since day one.
Not true.
Even though that's not true, today we're best friends. She actually helped me through the program, and just having that organic energy bouncing off of each other, we became really, really, really good friends. So after she graduated from University of St. Augustine before I did. So I'm going to say USA because I think University of St. Augustine is too long of a word to say. But she graduated from USA a year before I did, and she started doing traveling physical therapy.
Which is where I convinced her to come join me, because it's fun to be exploring in the United States, which is traveling therapy, if you're not familiar with. It's every 3 to 6 months you grab a contract wherever you want in the United States. You get to choose, and you get to go and explore that area, which is I wanted to do, because when you go on a vacation to a state, you don't really get to explore. You stay for a weekend, maybe a week if you're lucky on your paid vacation, and then you're off. So I wanted to travel. So I convinced her, said, hey, come join me and let's have fun.
Yeah, and it didn't need to take much convincing because I love to travel. I have the travel bug. So when I graduated a year after she did, our first assignment was in Texas, working with peds. Now peds means working with young children under the age of 18. I have never worked with children before this assignment, and just being a new grad, not having much exposure to that setting, it was kind of nerve-wracking for me. But again, my best friend who had the exposure to work with kids just said, again, it's play. You know, you want to make therapy fun for the kiddos. So you just play with them. Well, I'm a big kid at heart. So that actually worked out for us. So we were in Texas for 6 months. Then we went to California, I believe. No, Washington State. We went to Washington State.
And the reason we chose Washington State is because I'm an Army brat. So both of my parents were in the military when I was born. I was actually born in Seattle, Washington, stayed for 2 weeks before they got deployed to Germany. So I wanted to see where my birth home was. So that's why I convinced her to come to Tacoma with me.
So we were there for another 6 months. In that particular setting, I did outpatient, but within the hospital setting. So I did a little bit of outpatient and a little bit of inpatient, meaning with outpatient, the outpatients came to us in the particular clinic. Inpatient meant that I was in the hospital with the patient after acute injury. After coming from Washington State, what setting were you in Washington State?
I was home health, so I would go to people's homes. So that's one of the benefits about physical therapy, is that there's so many options of locations that you want. I think the good fit for me with traveling was that I like change. I like to do different settings because you learn different things, and being a new grad is good for the experience.
Absolutely. And then you also work with other therapists who have been in the field way longer than you have, so you can learn from them. You can see what works for them, and then you can adopt those things as your own. So after Washington State, we actually went to California. That was an experience. We had fun. We lived in San Jose, so that was not too far from San Francisco. So we were able to be tourists. We traveled. We went to Alcatraz. In San Francisco. We went to a football game. Like we
able to ride our bikes across the Golden Gate Bridge. Don't ask her about that story. She'll cry.
Yes. And then after, in that particular location, I believe I too was in outpatient in that setting, and you were in outpatient as well, right?
We were able to work together. A lot of the benefits of having someone is that she's my talking piece. I get us in the door because I have 2 degrees. She's the talking piece. She's the life. So it was wonderful to be able to travel with my best friend, because if there wasn't one job available or if there was only one job available when they called me, she was able to get us 2.
Absolutely, absolutely. So then after California, we went to Hawaii. Who doesn't want to work in Hawaii? And I will honestly say it didn't feel like a job to me. It felt like an extended vacation.
Yeah, we were able to stay for, I believe, 6 months.
Absolutely.
We left, came back for a year,
Yes.
left, and came back for 2 years. So
Yes.
you can see that Hawaii is definitely one of our
top.
favorite places to be.
Absolutely. So the first time when we went to Hawaii, we were actually in a skilled nursing facility. So after going to Hawaii 3 times, we realized that this was something that we wanted to do. Traveling therapy, it is an extended vacation. You get paid weekly, and that was just an added incentive to doing that.
So in theory, with the traveling therapy, what we did was we worked Monday through Friday. We had the weekends off, usually, and we were able to explore. So we actually went to Alaska too, which was beautiful because we had like 18 to 20 hours of sunlight all day long.
Yes.
So even though we were working our 8 to 5, as soon as we got off, it felt like it was still 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we would go hiking, which she loves.
I cannot stand hiking.
She loves to be in nature.
No, I
And
don't.
she loves to go up mountains,
No, I don't.
whether it's cold or hot.
That is a lie.
Nonetheless, being able to travel has provided us a lot of opportunities that I never thought that I'd be able to see. My first mountain that I saw, I was 28.
Yeah. Yeah, and so just having that exposure and having that availability to you as a clinician is by far the best thing that has happened to me. So now fast forward to Florida, where we are now is our business. So our business is called Dynamic Duo PT Plus, and we're here in West Palm Beach, Florida, right off of Haverhill.
So now that we're here in West Palm Beach, what actually happened was after about 8 years of traveling, we decided that we needed to find a nice place that was close in temperature to Hawaii, but not as expensive. And we found West Palm Beach. So we decided after everything that we had experienced through the different contracts and learning from other people that they had their way, but we had ours, and our way seemed to be more fun. So we decided that it'd be best for the Dynamic Duo to open up their own. So that's how we came up with our name, Dynamic Duo PT Plus. We offer physical therapy, but we also offer occupational therapy. And as we expand, we want to get speech therapy involved, wellness and health, anything and everything, because the body works in a unit. So if it's not together, nothing is going to be together.
Absolutely.
But in theory, we just didn't want to take advice from other people. We wanted to do our own thing because we feel that connection of our community. We want to know the people that are walking by our shop. We want to be a part of people's family because we're ultimately wanted to build in the community.
Yeah, definitely. We want to impact our community, but in a positive way. Our thing is we want to treat a person as a person and not see them as a number or a dollar sign. And so we wanted to, again, create an environment that is inviting for you, because being the first time coming to a clinic for the first time, not knowing what's going to happen, it can be a scary thing, but just to be able to ease the fear and have you feel comfortable. I think that was the main thing that we wanted to do in our environment.
Right. I think a lot of the clinics now are becoming overpopulated because of insurance, and we want to get paid. We're important. We went through a lot of school. We want to earn our money too. However, it's about health. It's about people. If I am here saying I'm a doctor of physical therapy and you're not able to do what you want to do, i.e. walk, sit up from the bed, stand from a chair, I'm not doing my job if I'm only looking at the money. So our motto and our goal in life is to make sure that you feel like I'm treating you like if you were my family member, even though they don't listen to you. Once you become in the health field, whatever you do, your family don't listen to you, by the way.
Yeah.
But in theory, we want you to be able to feel like I actually care, because I do. I care if you get better, and I care if you're not getting better. I want your doctor involved. I want your family to know what exercises you should be doing. It's not just you I'm treating, it's everyone in your circle.
Absolutely.
So that's how we became where we are.
And that's what we definitely want to keep pushing.
Absolutely.
Physical therapy is a wonderful world, but sometimes it can get overshadowed by when you're walking in and you see so many people on a schedule.
Right, absolutely. So going into what's a typical day. I'm glad that you asked. Typical day. Tyree's typical day. So sometimes I like to work out. It just depends. I love to eat. For all of my foodies out there, right on. And my thing is, if I don't eat, or if I do eat and eat a lot, I gain weight. So in order to maintain a healthier lifestyle, I work out. So I work out in the mornings. After that, if I'm not running behind schedule, I will grab something. Yeah, I'll grab something to eat for breakfast. Want to stay hydrated with water and want to make sure that I have an energy level to treat my patients.
Because she also gets hangry.
I do get hangry when I'm hungry. So after that, I come to work, and my first patient on the schedule, depending on what body part is in need of my love, tender, and care, then that's what I work on. What is your typical day, Angie?
I like to sleep in just a little bit, so I'll press the alarm about 2 or 3 times, but I do get up. I make sure I have enough time to get myself together. I too work out in the mornings because in the afternoons I don't have the energy. I've spent it all in here having fun doing my job, i.e. my career. Typical day, people come in, we check them in, what's going on, evaluation, which is fun. I get to be an investigator. I get to problem solve. Oh, your back hurts, your knee hurts. Let me figure out what could be causing that problem. So that's my fun part. When I retire from physical therapy, I probably will be a private investigator because I like to be up in everybody's business.
She does. That is inaccurate.
So figuring out what's going on. Okay, now that I figured out what some of the issues are with the person, how can we create a plan of care, something that is going to, exercises that are purposely made for that person, I think is amazing I like to create things. Oh, you're here for your knee, well, you're going to work your whole body instead because it's probably the only exercise you get. So I'm going to take advantage of that time. We see roughly 8 to 10 patients a day. We have a lunch break. You know, she's got to eat, so got to make sure we put that in there.
And each treatment session and therapy evaluation is roughly an hour. So we want, again, spend the time with our clients, one, so they know that they are important, and two, we have an idea exactly what's going on with them. Like she said, once we have an idea, we can create a plan of care, and then we hit the ground running. So our sessions typically take roughly an hour.
One of the other bonus that I think we fail to hit on sometimes is how important our job really is. Doctors go in and nurses as well. They go in and see a patient for maybe 5-10 minutes. The doctor is usually the one that's talking all the time, not really listening to what the patient has to say. Not that we're stuck with our patients for an hour, but we enjoy the time with them for an hour. So we're listening to things that they may not have had a chance to tell the doctor, or we're putting this puzzle together like, hey, doctor, there's some red flags here that you should probably look deeper into. So our job is like that inner guy, in that middle person that we can relate directly to the doctor. They're more likely to listen to us than they are to the patient. Because there are some patients that come in and from their head to their toes, they're in pain, or from their head to their toes, they can't move. So there's legitimate pain and there's legitimate problems, but there's also some stuff that we have to shuffle through. Absolutely. And I think spending that time with a patient for an hour is very important because we wouldn't know that otherwise. And that's why those things get lost with the doctors. Absolutely. For those of you who are thinking to get in the health field, I definitely think it's a great place, but you have to do a little bit of research to determine which area you want to get in because it is so vast. We're physical therapists, so we are more than welcome to have you come in and see us. There's different resources within the community. T. Leroy Jefferson, you have the TED Center, you have volunteer with your local doctor, just finding those different avenues that you can find your fit.
Absolutely. I think, like she said, talking to your pediatrician or your dentist or a friend of a friend of a friend who is in the medical field, just so you can get that information and get that insight, I think will help you navigate in the world of medicine. What I did was I volunteered, and that helped me choose the physical therapy world. So like she said, if you are interested in doing physical therapy and or occupational therapy, you are more than welcome to come to our clinic. We will definitely teach you what you need to know to how to get into the program, but also we will put you to work, okay? We will have you help us around here because we need all the hands that we have on deck, okay? So that's just my advice. As far as tuition, school is expensive. No way around it. No way around it. But the good thing is that there's scholarships available. There's grants available. There is student loans available, even though we don't want to go that route, but they're still available for you. So there's no excuse to not go to a school that you don't want to go to because you feel like you don't have the financial support that you feel like you don't have. Because again, there's monies out there that can be used for your benefit.
The other piece of advice that I would give is that C's makes degrees. All my life in school, I was an A honor roll student. I had to work hard to make sure that I stayed up there. But for grad school, it took me out. And so while I was stressing over, how am I going to pass this test? Oh my gosh, I have a C on this thing. What am I doing wrong? I'm not made for this. I don't feel like I'm worthy of becoming a physical therapist. Someone told me that C's makes degrees, and it changed my life because once you graduate, no one cares about what degree or what your grades were like. It doesn't matter. The point is that you are now whatever you wanted to be. And when the patients come in or someone interviews you, they're not going to say, what does your report card look like? They're not going to say, let me see a transcript that you did all this on a 90% or 80% average. What matters is if you graduated, and that's what you have to be determined to do. So don't worry about the stressors of finances. I had to take out student loans. I was the first one in my household to go to college, and they didn't even know how I got there because it was just by God's grace that I was given the opportunity. People walked in my path to guide me where I need to be. I put myself out there to let them know that this is what I wanted to do, and people started helping me get down to where I needed to go.
So if you don't know where to start, ask for help. That is going to be your number one thing to do, is to just ask for help. Just ask someone that you trust. Where do I go? How do I start this whole journey?
So, all the schools are different. No matter where you go, you're going to learn different stuff. For me, when I went to grad school, the education I got in Augusta, Georgia, was not preparing me for the graduate level. However, I took those C's. I wasn't the best test taker. I know you may be. If you're not, don't worry about it. What matters is what your reputation is in the professional world. I stand on high regard. People love to work with me. I have fun doing what I do. I care about the community, so that brings them to me even more.
Absolutely. And like she said, reputation. So if you are good at what you do, not only good at what you do, but you love what you do, you have a passion for what you do, and you have a compassion to help people, you will fly far into this medical world and to this medical journey, and you will just change lives. People work on word of mouth. That's how you get your clients to come in, is word of mouth. People were willing to follow us from different states that we have treated them because they receive such good care from us. So by all means, grades doesn't really fit the bill. It's what you can give into your profession.
Right. You have to make the grades to pass.
Absolutely.
You have to graduate in order to do this. No fake doctors, please.
Absolutely.
But once you get out there and you find your fit, you find what works for you, it just comes natural.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people ask me questions about anatomy parts, and I'm like, I don't remember that. That was like 10 years ago. But while I'm working through it, it all comes back. And it's just because I dedicated myself for that time period of grad school that I need to learn this so I can help other people. If you don't know why you're doing something, you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely. So, what are we doing, or what do we like to do when we're not working? Well, number one, for me, I love to eat. So, take me to a really good restaurant, give me some good taste, flavorful food, and then top it off with a good dessert. Okay? Not only that, I love to watch a good movie. All right? Netflix and chill is my thing. I'm talking about chilling, like relaxing on the couch and watching Netflix. What is your thing?
So I enjoy a good vacation. Although working for yourself is rewarding, you have to take a break. So I enjoy to travel somewhere, go lay on somebody's beach. I would like a nice ice cream. I don't need all the extra food. Just give me an ice cream and some sand in my toes, and I'm good to go. Anything, even finding my space here. I work in West Palm. I can also vacation in West Palm.
Absolutely.
Go right down across that bridge, put my feet in some sand.
And one last thing is, we both love adventure. So whatever we can get some kind of adventure feel, then that's what we love to do. So we've been skydiving, we went scuba diving, she swam with the sharks, we went hang gliding, paragliding, anything, climb mountains, which I hate, anything that brings that adrenaline out, that's what we love to do.
Right.